many others that had it sucking him and it wasn't letting go. But he was there to help himself, so the sun was not setting low. He was very animated in the group. It was clear he was giving thought. There was no doubt he realized that it was a trap in which he was caught. And he hadn't expected the group to be helpful, and he said as much. But it was clear by the end of it, something inside him had been touched. And I enjoyed his spunk and the generous smile that crossed his face. It's kids like him that bring life to this otherwise quiet place. He told his counselor he enjoyed the group and he was definitely coming back. He could see he could gain something that would make up for what he lacked. He even thought he'd like to be a counselor, that's how much he felt inspired. He realized the life he was living was only leaving him feeling tired. That's the last time I saw him. He would not return the following week. The drugs that had him trapped would rob him from the life that he would seek. He died that following Friday. His mother found him overdosed in bed. It's every mother's nightmare to wake up and find their child is dead. I found out about his death on Monday and it left me feeling sick. I knew if he had a choice, this was not the end that he would pick. But what choices did he have in a world that doesn't seem to care? That the adolescent brain doesn't register the danger of the dare? That we abandon our kids in adolescence during their most pivotal age because we cannot stand their laziness or the times they turn to rage? We often see them as annoying because their moods change as quickly as the TV station, and all they seem to do all summer is sit around and play games on their PlayStation. And if they made a little more effort in school, there's a chance they might pass. But to do that, you keep telling them they'd have to at least show up to class. But we don't ask them what the problem is or what else is going on, because we're far too busy telling them what we think is going wrong. And usually that's all about them. They don't know how easy they have got it. After all, everything they call their own belongs to us because we have bought it. And of course they have no appreciation. They think that money grows on trees. They want to join a gaming group and they expect us to pay the fees. But we can't get them to watch the windows or even mow the lawn. And you wake up at 2 in the morning and discover that they're gone. Then one day you're cleaning their room and you happen on some pot. And their expression doesn't change a bit when you tell them they've been caught. Now everything makes some sense. It's the drugs that they've been using. And so you tell them to smarten up or it's home they will be losing. And all along we missed the boat because there's something else that's wrong. And by now it's far too late because we've waited far too long. All they can hear is our criticisms and all the things about them that aren't right. And now all the negative messages in their heads are more than they can fight. They no longer feel okay about themselves and they believe they never will. And one day they find a way to feel much better when they take an oxy pill. Now they found a taste of peace and they're too young to fear their death. So one night they choose to shoot the drug and it takes away their breath. I saw him in the room that night, the boy with the generous smile, and I hoped that I would see him again in just a little while. The next time I stood in that room, there was an eerie silence there. It was the echo of a life that I knew had been unfair. He didn't make it through the crucible from adolescence to adult. He'd have been happy if he had run away to join a religious cult. But when the confusion in his head got too much for him to bear, he started living life in a way that showed he clearly didn't care. And one too many times he took the drug that stole his life. He would never be a father, nor would he ever have a wife. He would never choose a future, the drug had robbed him of that right. His smile was gone forever, death had extinguished his bright light. I only met him once, but he made a great impression. But the smile that crossed his face had hid a dark depression. The thing that forced him to seek love and a drug that relieves pain. And it is the death of our youth that leaves the darkest stain. The next day I went to the funeral of another youth that died. She took the drug that promised peace but didn't know it lied. Instead it took her life away, her star falling from the sky. She left behind a brother who never got a chance to say goodbye. It feels like a row of dominoes, the first one knocks the next. Gone like a phone message after the button sends the text. Too late to pull them back from the edge from which they fell. They're gone, but the dealer still has more drugs to sell. They'll sell them to the lonely with hearts that have been broken. They'll steal the sadness from their lips before it has been spoken. They attract them with the promise that in their drugs they'll find the answer. But they turn out to be more deadly than the most malignant type of cancer. And the feelings of invincibility cannot protect our youth. And and our constant criticism doesn't allow them to tell the truth. Eventually their ball of pain screams for the pain reliever, and then they die alone, a victim of the drug deceiver.